What is up, Remmorii Squad? It's your boy Remmorii back in week 2 for the Artist Way. So we're gonna dive right in. Okay, let's start from the beginning. How many days this week did I do my morning pages? 7 out of 7. Close experience life. Experiencing was kind of difficult. Not in terms of writing. I don't think there was ever a period of time this week that I literally had nothing to write about. There'll be times that I noticed, like there was one day that I didn't do morning pages directly when I woke up. I would do them, like I would scroll for a bit and then I would do my morning pages. And I think that happened once. And on that day, I found a lot of things that I was writing about were based off of things that I had seen online, whereas in general, when I'm writing about morning pages, it's a lot of larger thoughts, or like the stream of consciousness is a bit different. I found myself daydreaming a lot more and like not writing down what I'm thinking in my head or what I'm seeing in my head. The affirmations, adding the affirmations, and this week we had to, there's something called our blurts, which is like our negative beliefs that we have about ourselves and creativity. We had to create affirmations based off of those blurts. And then we had to write it 5 times after we finished the morning pages, and we had to pick 3. And that really helped because I found at periods of time when I would doubt myself, the affirmations that I had wrote would come to me in my head. One of the ones that I wrote was like, I can learn and still be brilliant at the same time. And I remember like asking myself, well, like, what do I know? And then the affirmation came to my head, well, I can learn and still be brilliant at the same time. So the experience was very helpful. I started noticing a lot more things in terms of alignment and synchronicity, and I had a lot more confidence in myself and in life, and a lot more trust. And I felt like I was looking at life a bit different, and I can feel myself coming out of a low. And ironically, the low that I found myself in was actually getting a fever, which was crazy because I don't usually get sick. And when I get sick, I get slapped in the face. And this was a week where, even though I was doing my morning pages, like I didn't feel like I wanted to create. Like creating was hard. And I think it's been like that for the past 2 weeks. It's not been consistent and hasn't been easy to just like edit on a computer or just to make music. I feel like it's kind of been challenging. Give me 1 second. It was really hard because by the 3rd day that I was just lying in bed being sick, I was like, I'm gonna try to start doing work, and it felt like there was a block. I felt like there was resistance to create. And morning pages are easy, but like getting myself to do the work now is hard. What like has been harder, and it's interesting because one of the affirmations that we had to write about in our first week, the basic principles that we were told to read every day and morning, which I have not done this morning and this night, so I need to do that as well. But one of the basic principles talks about not being creative is refusing. Like it's a refusal, and it's an act of self-will. Like you're deliberately withholding creativity because you don't feel like doing it. There's so much resistance. And I thought that's so interesting that we're doing a disservice to ourselves by not actually being creative. So that was kind of helpful to push past the resistance in those moments of understanding like, hey man, like we're gonna have to get over this hump. So just before I started recording this, I edited an entire video, and like I didn't work on any music today, but like I made a plan of what I wanted to do with music and how I can push myself forward, and the obstacles that I have for releasing an EP, and now I realize how to overcome those obstacles. Like there's always another way if you're willing to look from it, and every perspective is always right depending on how you look at it. So that was kind of the experience this week, and the week itself with sickness and like work it gave me a lot of content to write about. And I think there were periods of time where some of my writing was negative, but all in all it was like just the allowing myself to break my own train of thought and write whatever comes to mind so that I can just let the flow keep going. And there's a lot of faith in trusting that the thoughts that are coming from, like they don't have to be good or bad, they just need to get out on the paper. Like there's no wrong way to do it, and that's very freeing because a lot of the work with creativity, you kind of want to achieve and aim towards a standard. So that has been this past week, but it's been going good overall. What were you surprised to find yourself writing about? don't think I was surprised. One thing I was surprised about writing about was my dreams. I feel like I haven't remembered my dreams lately, but lately they've been a lot more vivid. And I can remember them, and I can finish dreams. Sometimes in dreams, like you wake up because of your alarm, right? And you don't get to complete your dream. Your dream doesn't end. There's times where I was like, yeah, I finished the dream. Like there's nothing to do now in the dream. So that was cool. I remember there was a point in time where I was very conscious of dreaming and like trying to understand my dreams and remember them and write them down. I'm not putting that as much effort with that in this stage right now, but it's cool to realize that my brain is awake to the unconscious, like it's paying attention. And I think that's because of morning pages, and I think that's super cool. Did you do your artist date this week? What did you do and how did it feel? For the artist date this week, I literally did it today. I wanted to dye a pair of pants beige, and the process was interesting because part of the dyeing process with the hot water, you have to continually stir it. Like there's a washing machine method, but I didn't decide to do the washing machine method. I decided to do it in a bucket. I just was stirring the bucket. And it was interesting because I just wanted to stop, but I'm like, yeah, you need to keep going. And it kind of reminded me of like my creativity, and as I was talking about earlier about how I didn't necessarily want to keep going, but I had to. And I didn't want to start doing my creativity, but I had to. And it was interesting because I was thinking while within the artist date that like this was supposed to be fun, but like it takes work to create stuff, you know, regardless of if what I'm doing is just for fun to like dye a pair of shorts just because. It was interesting because this one didn't feel much like play. It felt like a chore. It didn't feel like a chore in the sense of a chore, but I think I was doing chores prior to doing my artist date, so the transition was like in the mindset of not playing, but like it's work because I have to stir it continuously. And it was cool to see the water change. Yeah, it was cool to have a hands-on approach with something and try to craft something and make something and not be really sure about how it's going to turn out, but willing to take the risk anyways and understand that not everything that we do is going to turn out the way that we hope for, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it because I still got something out of it. And it still has an opportunity to evolve. Like this is just the first time I've dyed it, so I could dye it over another color. I could try bleaching it. There's so many different other experiments that I could do with it. It made me understand that the hard work is important and it's necessary to create and to play. Like it's still necessary, it's still part of it. It still takes work to play. It still takes energy to play, and that's important. So that was the artist date this week. Do some little arts and crafts. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was still pretty fun. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. Other than me feeling the challenge and the actual resistance of just wanting to create in general. And apart from that, and being sick and work, and not being able to move my body, you know what really helped? I did the 20-minute walk from last week at the start of this week, and being outside was very healing. So I think with the sickness, I didn't really step outside and like go for a walk. So I might do that this week to ensure that I'm getting inspiration from outside too. So when I'm inside that I feel good and I feel better and I have the energy that I need. Yeah, other than that, there was no other issues that I stumbled across. I think reading these chapters sometimes take a bit of time, and allocating time to do that and knowing how to prepare yourself is helpful. But there was a lot of, one of the 10 tiny changes that it talked about in week number 2, one of them that I chose was to try to be more positive, just overall. So I like all the little tasks that you have to do before your check-in throughout the week. It really keeps you locked in, and I feel like I've been doing a lot of reflection today. I've been doing a lot of reflection over the course of this course in the past 2 weeks. And it's been very interesting to be in your own head, in your own space, and then see how that translates to what you create, because you don't always know how your morning pages will translate to your creativity, or how the tasks that you do, or like going on a 20-minute artist walk or artist date. You don't know how those things will translate to your creativity, but I think the point of it is to be remaining open to yourself and to understand yourself and to recognize yourself, so that when inspiration comes or when you're being led by whatever leads creativity, you're more likely to listen because you understand it's not coming from you, and it's also going to leave, and there's a limited window. So that was this week. That's this week's check-in. I don't have anything else. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Remmorii Squad out.